What's up, everybody? It's a nice morning outside. Been looking at some stuff and thinking about changing up my design a little bit here on the back of the truck. I built this simple little rack just to get my tent on the truck to get out and go and do some adventuring and stuff. And it's worked out great. It's very strong. It cost me less than $200 to build it. But the one thing I didn't think about was my ice chests barely slide underneath it. And my refrigerator I have, my Bouge RV refrigerator, it won't fit under here. It's too tall. The Nissan Frontier bed is just too short. And also you see these little nuts right here hanging down. I want to change that up too, so where those are not in the way, so if you have to crawl in there, you don't hit your head on those and make yourself bleed. So I'm actually thinking about doing this. I have a whole lot of this metal left over, so I'm thinking about coming up at this angle, going across this flat, and then putting these on, because I want to keep this flat part right here on the edge. So if I want to use my my riv nut installer and install some stuff that'll screw onto here for like some kind of accessories, I can, and I'll have a nice flat surface. So that's one thing I'm looking at doing, is just going straight across here and then laying this pipe right here where it has a little flat surface where it raises it up, and it should still be below or just right tad bit above the edge of the cab up there for wind, for catching wind. Still keep my center of gravity a little bit lower, but give me a little more room. It'll give me about 24 inches of clearance in the center in the bed. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing here soon. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and pull my tent off, and then I'm gonna mount this on my sawhorses, and then I'll grind off my welds to get this bar loose, and then I'll end up welding one on each side, and I'll keep that bar in place up there to hold everything the way it's lined up right now. And then I'll build the back one first, and then I'm going to add a third one in the center right here for more support. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So my next step is I need to take my tent off of the frame, and then I need to unbolt my frame and slide it back where I can grind these welds off right here on the back and pull this bar loose, because this bar here is going to have to be cut at a 22.5-degree angle on the ends to match up with those pieces and go across. So this bar will actually get shorter. It's only going to be from like here to here in length, just under the tent. So that's what we got to do next, is take the tent off. Alright, now that we got the tent off of here, what we're going to do is unbolt it. So last night, you know, I was putting this on and I kept messing with it and started measuring, and this side here was actually a little bit taller, about 1/4 of an inch higher up than this side was. And I noticed that from the measurement I took from here to the center line of this bolt hole right here was off by about 1/4 of an inch, and the same on this side was off. So I think what I ended up doing was this piece right here, when I had it off and I was cleaning the ends up, I think maybe I spun it around and put it on, so the left one and the right one, because the holes weren't exactly the same measurement on either side, so I think I spun it around, and that's what happened. So instead of cutting that, I was thinking about cutting it off, so I cut these loose in the corners on both sides. So instead of cutting this off, I came out here last night and I started checking it out. It's pretty level, and I used this strap right here to pull it where it needed to be, so I got it on 45 there, and this side over here is now 45 as well. So it's pretty lined up the way it needs to be. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish welding out these corners and stuff, and I'm just going to weld these holes up and drill new holes. That'd be the easiest thing to do instead of tearing this thing all back off and trying to adjust it and everything. I'm just going to fill these holes in, which ain't hard to do with the MIG welder. Smooth them off with a tiger disc and then clean them back up, and then I'll re-drill them, and then I'll work on the front one. So that should be what today's project is, and hopefully I'll get the bed liner stuff sprayed on it here this afternoon, and I can get it drying and get the tent back on the truck and see how it, take it with me to work and see how well I like it. And I'm also thinking about, when I drill these holes, I bought that new rib nut tool for putting the rib nuts in. I'm thinking about doing rib nuts instead, so you don't have the nut hanging out the bottom. I was just going to drill a big hole in the bottom for a socket to go in and put the nut on the top part, but I think I'm going to see if I can use that rib nut tool. But that's what today's project is. That's what I'm planning on doing. I'm just drinking my coffee right now and looking at it, and I like the way it sits right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just tack it all out, and then we'll weld it all up, and then we'll work on that front one. Alright, so far it's looking good. I got the back beam on. I got it somewhat all the way welded, but not all the way because I ran out of wire in my machine. I gotta go to Lowe's and see if I can get another full of wire. We got the front one on. Looks pretty good so far. Everything looks like it's measuring out the way it's supposed to. Like I said, I'm gonna end up welding these holes up and then re-drilling new holes for the tent and installing those rib nuts. Just got a few more little things to do and I can start painting it up. Now I got 2 cans of bed liner and a can of primer. It's a rust killing primer too. So I gotta go to Lowe's. So I think it turned out pretty good. It's got that Herculiner spray on bed liner on it. Looks all right. I think it'll work. Some of my welds aren't the prettiest, but I ain't got really a whole lot of time to play with those to make them pretty. As long as they hold, I don't really care. But it looks pretty good so far. I have to transfer the holes up here, and then I'm using my new tool right here that I got. I ain't even got to use this thing yet, but we're gonna, instead of having the nuts hanging through the bottom of the pipe like I had, I filled the holes in on both sides, and I'm gonna use these guys, drill my hole, and then put those in, so no more hitting my head on hardware hanging through the pipe. It'll give it a cleaner look. But I think it looks pretty good so far.